The Anachronauts. They travel through time by downloading history to their brains and archive the past in order to save the future. With their trusty brain download computer, the Epoch Traverser, they randomly visit the past year after year. Join them as they embark on their next adventure. Prepare yourself for Anachronology.
Hey there.
I just need to eat some barbecue now after that sponsor. I am craving some delicious smoked meats and beautiful women.
Yeah, you said it during the ad read or after the ad read that I would frequent a place like that. I really would frequent a place like that. I love both of those things that they were serving up at Smoke Show Barbecue.
Two great
All right,
tastes.
ladies and gentlemen and anachronauts out there, we have your final category for the show in 1992, a category that is near and dear to my co-host and my heart. It is a little bit of movies.
Movies.
There is something to be said. I know, Tom, we've talked about every time this kind of comes up in this era, the mid to late 80s, early 90s. There is just a bevy of great flicks that you and I grew up on. We've seen multiple times. There was so many, in fact, that so far it looks like we've got like the top 10 box office movies of 1992. So we are going to miss some folks if you happen to be saying, what about this one? What about this one? But there is some, I also see like a couple cherry pickers here that seem too good to leave out of the discussion, even if they weren't in the top 10 highest grossing films. So at number one, drum roll, please. Arguably one of the greatest sequels ever made, Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Love this movie.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Oh man. And it's it pleasantly kind of keeps the Tim Burton style alive in this second one, but even takes it, I think, to a whole other level of like just kind of gloom, doom, and darkness. A super fucking dark take on Batman, and especially after I think the kind of all around appeal the first Batman had, this just gave so much like edgy shock factor to it. Cause I mean, even as a kid, you went and there's some extremely jarring, like violent, hyper violent moments in this film. And it's just dark and wicked and Christmassy in a weird way too. It's a fucking wild movie, man.
I know there's definitely the part where Batman shows up to when all the Penguins, like circus cronies, are all trying to screw shit up for Max Schreck at his Christmas tree lighting, and Batman, he takes like a bomb and he puts like a bomb in the guy's like pants and like throws him into the sewer, and as he walks away he explodes.
Yeah,
like Batman like didn't do shit like that. Yeah, like he doesn't like toss a guy off the fucking when he's fighting at the bell tower at the end of the first one, but even then, like that's not the Joker but some guy he's fighting, but even then that's not using a bomb to explode someone.
Yeah, I feel like I guess the violent killing thing with Batman, at least in the comic books, wasn't always a thing. I don't think Batman just like violently murdered people or blew them up, but that was weird. And then obviously you had kind of like the sheer gruesomeness of the Penguin. The Penguin was just a disgusting blob of a person. Danny DeVito, incredible role. I mean, really, you talk about that. That's what was kind of cool, I think, about going from Batman to Batman Returns, is I felt from a casting standpoint, at the time, nobody could have done the Joker better than Jack Nicholson did it. He fucking killed it. And then you move into this next movie and everybody's like, well, how do you one up that? And this is how you do it. You get Danny DeVito as the fucking Penguin, and honestly, Michelle Pfeiffer is like an iconic Catwoman. I don't think there's been, in all the other iterations of Batman that have come out, a Catwoman that can even hold a flame to what she did.
I think that's arguably the I don't want to say bigger crime, but a big crime of not having, at least getting a third go around with Burton and Keaton, is getting to see Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman again. So good in that role. So freaking good in that role. And it has one of the best lines of a bad guy doing some nasty shit in the Penguin, where the guy from we're your PR team, we're gonna have you do this. And he's like, oh, how you doing? He's like, I guess it could be worse. My nose could be gushing blood. What? He bites that dude's nose.
Just bites that motherfucker's nose. And after he's been just like disemboweling and eating a raw fish. It's just like layer after layer. And yeah, it really did signify, you know, the end of Burton's touch on Batman. I think there's like rumors that go around, and obviously I've watched actually a whole video online talking about the what have been the third installment to his trilogy, which is super interesting. If they came back again, what you would have gotten. But I mean, his Gotham City is iconic. You know, I feel like it's just like, you know, you just those first two films just stand alone. They're their own. They're almost like you could back to back them, and it would be a great experience too. And it's cool because I also think it did such an incredible job of all the tie-ins. Always, we were just talking about Happy Meals, all the McDonald's Batman Returns toys. It was just like everything. Remember the Diet Coke commercials they used to do?
Oh yeah,
same thing. Always a tie-in with popular brands, and no wonder it doesn't surprise me. It just killed at the box office in '92.
I know it is often said that you know, Empire Strikes Back is the greatest of the original Star Wars. Like, how do you do better than the original? You improve upon what made the first one great. Obviously, this doesn't have Jack Nicholson, but for making for Temple of Dooming Batman, you know, this is basically the Temple of Doom to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Such a good movie, such a fantastic Batman flick. Wish we got a third one. Number 2 top grossing film, Lethal Weapon 3.
No shit.
I definitely remember seeing this one in the theater.
I do too. Yeah,
this was one that, like, I'm pretty sure my dad took me to this one.
I think I went with my dad too.
Yeah.
This was definitely like a pretty kitschy action series at the time. You got fucking Leo Getz back there, fucking Joe Pesci.
Oh, God, what was he? Oh, okay. That he'd always his long stories or whatever. Because he was a con man, right? Wasn't that his deal? He was like a con man, kind of thief guy. Wasn't that what his deal was?
Yeah, he
was
like just a little piece of shit, kind of informant too, that would like work with them. But they made it all the way to the third one, and I remember like again, Christ, they went on and did a fourth one too. Spoiler alert.
Because I believe he becomes a private detective in the fourth one. I think that's what it is. Yeah, in Lethal Weapon 3, I'm pretty sure Joe Pesci is like embezzling from crime guys or something, and he kind of has to like get protected by Riggs and Murtaugh. But in the fourth one, he is he's like, oh, I'm a private detective. I want to be like you guys. I help the law instead of like breaking it.
Prime Mel Gibson here. Prime Mel with that feathered look at Australian mullet, dog. Just so perfect. Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I think all of these films are guilty pleasure for me because they're all kind of just, they do their thing. They don't really take themselves seriously, especially by the third one. You know what you're getting. I think they sprinkled like Rene Russo in this one as like the cop love interest. And I remember like this is the one too where like the cops were getting killed by like the special bullets. Remember, like the bullets, they were like cop killer bullets that were like, they were breaking through like bulletproof vests and shit like that.
Yeah, that was the whole that was the bad guy they had to find. But for being the second Lethal Weapon, I can't remember too much, probably because it doesn't have Joe Pesci in it. But for being the third one in the series, you say like, you know what you're getting. This is like a perfect movie that your dad wouldn't feel bad like letting having his kid come along.
There's some blood, swear words, maybe some titties or something in there. Let him see some titties.
Lethal Weapon 3. It's probably worth a revisit it like one time. If we get another like COVID comes around again, like doing a little Lethal Weapon watch through might not be a bad idea.
Hey, I think you might even have a fifth one by the time rolls around.
This I remember being huge sister act starring Whoopi Goldberg, obviously Disney flick. This was one that my mom really enjoyed. And for a vehicle for Whoopi Goldberg, not to like, I can totally see how this was the number 3 top grossing movie in the 1992. You get Whoopi Goldberg, she's funny. You put her fish out of water. You have some musical elements, right? Even though it is religious, you get like you're showcasing. I mean, Whoopi Goldberg doesn't have to pull all the weight, so you get these other kind of actresses who are showcasing their talent. It's kind of like a nice little witch's brew of perfect storm kind of coming together to be number 3 movie in '92.
Yeah, because it was like, if I haven't seen it in a long time, but it was like she's like a lounge singer that like witnesses a murder or some shit. It's always some shit like that.
She goes on
hiding into this fucking church. Yeah, I do remember like my my grandmother liked it, and I felt like it was like it let Catholic people laugh at it, like, oh, it's funny, you know. But yeah, I don't remember much of it, but a lot of the singing was fun, like a lot of just like spinning like Motown hits on their head and making them in these big choir arrangements and stuff. It was fun.
All right, now this is just worth it. Who was the guy who was like her shitty boyfriend? Who is like the bad guy?
Oh, I can see his face,
right?
dude. When you see him, you're like, that guy.
Oh,
that
well, yeah,
character actor.
Oh, well, no, I wonder if this is Harvey Keitel. But that guy, that character actor, his name is Joseph Mayhair. Here, I wonder if
maybe it was Harvey Keitel.
Yeah, maybe it is Harvey Keitel.
He's going all fucking bad lieutenant on her.
Yeah, there's I'm just seeing like a shit ton. Yeah, right. He's just doing cocaine in the church, yelling at the crucifixion.
Where the fuck were you?
Just huffing an envelope full of cocaine,
tucking his dick by his legs.
Oh man. Yeah, well, all right. Well, we don't gotta look too much into that, but yeah, that would be a great bump.
And then who could forget, Sister Act 2 Back in the Habit. They had to make a second one, and I don't remember that one too well. It was like kids or something, like she teaches kids or some shit.
They go inner city, and it's like the community outreach program, and Lauryn Hill is in it, and she
wow,
a little showcase for Lauryn Hill. Yeah, a little showcase for Lauryn Hill.
Look at that.
She talks about how Jesus is strumming a pain with my fingers.
Oh, just talking about this shit.
Yeah, right. And now, of course, so we just had the talk boy. We have Kevin Allen in. What the fuck, Kevin? What is going on here?
Allen in New York.
What is going on there?
Is this a foreign? Yeah, it looks like a foreign.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's like German or something. This is awesome. Oh my god, I didn't even catch that.
In New York.
This must have been just like the best resolution of this poster that was available that AI producer could find. That's awesome.
That's just incredible. Great find. Yeah, you talk about alternative movie posters, but Home Alone 2 is, and this happened a lot in this time period, in possibly the late 80s and the early 90s, and we talked about this phenomenon at one point, I think on one of our earlier episodes, about how all sequels really were just a really gimmicky, cheap reinvention of the first film, where they just kind of like they took like almost the exact same plot of the movie and then just altered or changed the pinnacle points in the movie, and it's no different in this film. It's just that he's now in New York, and then it's all the same things, like the crazy like snow shovel guy is the fucking bird lady. Yeah, the pigeon lady. There's the big showdown at the end in the abandoned house. His house,
it's the uncle's house. Yeah.
Sure, and up in the ante, making the fucking like all the fucking booby traps. Honestly, incredibly violent in this one. Like, I remember watching it at one point, and it's like he's fucking throwing bricks at these guys' heads,
off like 5 stories, dude. Oh yeah,
yeah, literally. And it's just like you watch it, and you're like, that. I mean, you would be breaking this guy's skull open, and they're all fucked up. And
he fills like a toilet full of like kerosene or gasoline or something, and he blows up one of their heads. Like that dude would be like, if the bricks flying off the fucking roof didn't kill him, blowing up his head in the toilet definitely would.
It's crazy. Yeah, he like electrocutes them. He just puts these guys through fucking absolute hell, and we're all laughing. And it's still at the end, you get a little tear in your eye when he's like brought back with his family.
Yep, fucking. If you haven't seen Kevin Allen in New York, you guys are missing out. It is a great foreign film. What do we got next here? Wayne's World, probably the first most successful SNL skit turn movie, because It's Pat was before this.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure It's Pat is before Wayne's World. I don't think Wayne's World was
definitely did better than It's Pat. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm bummed that I've heard that I guess Dana Carvey and Mike Myers did not get along very well.
Heard that too. I heard
because
they fought a lot.
They jive so good as Wayne and Garth respectively in this movie.
I think it's look, I don't know the like dynamic between them two, but I do also hear a lot of things about Mike Myers, and I'm wondering like, is it a Mike Myers problem? And maybe Dana Carvey's a dick too, but I mean, this was one of those films that like I think like, you know, when I saw this, it's one of those kind of first like comedy films I remember watching and being like highly quotable, and like everybody's quoting the lines from it. And this is way before, obviously, you know, the internet. So it was just like clips of it on TV, or you'd have the VHS and you'd watch it. But yeah, just memorable, funny lines.
Ed O'Neill as the coffee
Yes.
shop owner is arguably steals the entire movie. He is so good. He's like, why is it when you kill a man in the heat of battle, they call you a hero? But he's like, when you do it, well, what does he say though? He's like, oh, but when you do it, when you find him with your wife, it's murder or something like that.
Or he's like something like, when you kill a man in the snow, it's steam and it leaves his body or some shit. I'm like totally not quoting it right.
Yeah, it's like Native Americans thought it was the man's soul leaving the body. Yeah. Even when the camera comes in, like he looks at the camera and he goes like, and he like calls the camera over, and the camera follows Ed O'Neill and he says that wacky shit. Oh, so
and there's a lot of like, speaking of Ed O'Neill, there's a lot of fun cameos of people that just do these tiny little bit roles. Chris Farley's in it.
Oh yeah, he's like
you got Rob Lowe's the fucking douchey bad guy, you know.
There's he's in the second one. There's Richard Jenny. That's cross your T's and dot your lowercase J's. I'm pretty sure that's the second one though. But yeah, but these Wayne's World and Wayne's World 2 definitely had like a bevy of the cameo appearances. And I would imagine too, like the history that they must have had with people who were on SNL or friends of people on SNL. I'm sure it must have been like, oh yeah, this will be a fun time. But it seems so rare that you can have it's almost like the whole movie is kind of like the newscaster fight in Anchorman, where all of like for that like, you know, 5 minutes of film where you have like all the cameos and that working as a bit. This whole movie is like a bit that works, which is so freaking rare.
It's so true. Yeah. And also just to take characters that were in at least on SNL incredibly confined to that set, you know, to that fucking basement set, and break them out of it and make it like they create the whole like world. They did a good job with that. So I thought, yeah, it was admirable.
What is this? It's a gun rack for your guns. I don't own a gun, let alone a rack.
She's famous too. Yeah, I can't think of her name.
Yeah. Let me see here. Another fucking foreign film. Look at this.
Instincto.
Dude, hey,
I'd want to see that rather than Basic Instinct.
Right? Yeah, this is if you don't read Transylvanian or whatever the hell this is Basic Instinct. So what is this? The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 highest grossing movie. And even though this is rated R, has the famous beaver shot of Sharon Stone spreading her legs during the interrogation scene. Kind of hard nowadays to get, a little easier in the 90s to get a high grossing film with a rated R, but this kind of fired on those cylinders that worked. You got a sexy broad showing some skin, you got the revenge fantasy of, you know, the femme fatale, and I am sure there probably was a lot of guys who took girls on this just to see Sharon Stone bush, and then also like I'll probably get some like hate bang tonight from the lady I'm here with. She's probably going to get put out, considering this movie is like made to, I don't know,
it was pretty sexy,
incite the senses.
It was a pretty sexy film. It was marketed that way. I remember again, you know, 10-year-old me, I remember being at a friend's house, and his mom had rented it, and we did pop it in and watch it, and was quite an awakening moment. Obviously, Sharon Stone was super hot at that time, and then I think that just kind of like catapulted her into this like sex symbol status that she was for many years after that.
Who directed this? Why?
Somebody famous.
It's Verhoeven. I thought it was Verhoeven.
Paul Verhoeven. Totally
that doesn't seem right, but I was like, yeah. You got a foreign dude. You got a foreign guy. Of course, he's probably gonna like convince a Hollywood actress. Be like, just do it in my country. This is nothing. This would be on a children's show if you show your vagina. But trust me, just
and then again, it did push the whole kind of edgy thing of like, my God, she flashes her beeve. And there's like a lot of like sex and tying people up and stabbing people with ice picks. Good time.
Michael Douglas.
Prime Michael Douglas.
We got I think an underrated comedy, League of Their Own. This is another one. I can remember my mom really liking this movie when I was a kid. League of Their Own.
Penny Marshall, right? Penny Marshall directed.
Penny Marshall directs. We got Gina Davis, Tom Hanks, Madonna. What's her name?
Rosie O'Donnell's in it.
Thank you. Lori Petty plays.
Lori Petty's great. Yeah, it's one of those films that did a good job of of the ensemble kind of. It was a heartfelt comedy, but I think it was also gets check marks for being a good period piece too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, what's his name? Bill Pullman plays Gina Davis's husband.
Yeah,
John Lovitz plays like the guy that recruits the girls at the very beginning.
I remember that.
Oh man, and I can't remember who the actress is. She plays like the Babe Ruth on their team. Like she's a real kind of like frumpy looking broad. But there's a scene where they go to like a speakeasy or I don't know, like a beer house or somewhere like kind of out in the sticks where their bus is taking them on their little cross country baseball tour, and that broad who is like real frumpy and like just down, she's up on stage hammered and she's singing "It Has to Be You," but the way she's singing it to like one guy in the audience, and she's like, "It has to be you," like she is owning like that.
I do remember that scene.
It's like I'm laughing at that now, thinking about how they're trying to pull her off the stage, and she just keeps singing this song horribly, but it's very, very funny. Yeah, this is like a good one. I think this is probably like some like brownie points, like a girlfriend, boyfriend movie night, stay at home. Like you want to watch a classic, something that might keep or if maybe not like maybe kids young nowadays, but hey, if you're around Tom and I's age and you got a movie nights with a wife or the girlfriend and you can't think of anything, get a couple hours.
Yeah, I really haven't seen this film in a very, very long time. I knew they tried to make like a TV series spin-off of it. And don't think it got a second season, but I think they tried. It's just one of those things, it's a very lightning in a bottle movie. And even if you remade it, it's just, sure, you could pop it in the period and give it the look, but it was truly the people in it are great. They really they pull off the characters and the whole, like, you buy into the fact that it's this kind of underdog woman's team,
And it has one of the greatest, longest guys taking a piss.
Oh yeah,
in cinema history.
Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan.
Yeah, that's right. He just takes the card, rips it up. All right, freaking! I'm surprised this isn't higher up on the list.
Me too.
Fucking
Aladdin, bro. Yeah, because this was really. We've talked about this a few times on the show. Like, really. I want to say Aladdin. It was Little Mermaid, then Aladdin, or was it Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin?
I think you're right. I think it is Mermaid. I think it's Mermaid, Beast, Aladdin, Lion King. I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, because we talked Beauty and the Beast fairly recently on one of our episodes that it came up, and I think this was this new renaissance for Disney. They were coming back. They were super successful. It was this whole thing where they were like pairing like these hit songs that popular artists would do that were also the songs that were like sang in the film. This one did the whole like what's the one, A Whole New World, that was the one, and that became super big. So you talk about like having your fingers in these different pies. Disney just was slaying. It's having a number one animated film, all the toys, all the cross-pollination into like the parks, and then to have like a major hit fucking CD or album too.
And I believe the rumor is that there was so much extra off-the-cuff dialogue that Robin Williams just had coming off his brain, out of his mouth.
Amazing, man.
Like, we could have made another movie just with all the wacky stuff.
He is the shining star of the film, and I think too, like, when you found out he was going to be in it, it was just the extra amount of excitement. And I want to say they even did like a Aladdin 2 or something. It was like
the Return of Jafar.
Yes, Return of Jafar. And I think straight to video. And even back then, that wasn't normal at all. Like, you knew something would almost kind of suck if it was going straight to video, but it had Robin Williams in it. So I think Robin Williams carried over and still did the genie voice for that whatever terrible.
I think it's the guy from Dan Castellaneta. I think it's the voice of Homer Simpson. I think he was.
Oh my God, he takes.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be. Let me look this up. Let's see. That's easy enough to find.
I was gonna say, did they have the actual cash to shell out to keep Robin Williams on for another film?
Scott Winger, Aladdin, Jasmine. Yeah, it's Homer. Yeah, the voice of Homer, Dan Castellaneta.
Oh shit! Look at that. Yeah, because I guess in what world would Robin Williams come back? You're just like, dude, yeah, he's done. He's so fucking paid for that job.
I can remember seeing it. It's one of the being a kid in the theater, and the God, what is the name of the Cave of Wonders where the lamp is?
Yeah, yeah,
And
the
when
Big Panther face or
yeah,
whatever.
when it falls back into the desert sands, and it's like a diamond in the rough, like hearing that echo off the walls of the theater, and it looking so badass. All that hand drawn animation looks so good.
It is, yeah, and I also can remember too. This was a period of time when the Genesis was hot. How
Oh, the game.
hard the fucking Genesis Aladdin game was.
Oh yeah, but still looked awesome as hell. The game
Looks great, side scroller, super cool. Yeah, it was a ton of fun to play, but it was very challenging.
And one of my, I can't remember, God, when this came up somewhat recently, I would say, but when Jafar is in costume, like in disguise, trying to get Aladdin to give him the lamp, and he goes, "The lamp, boy, give me the lamp." And he looks all gross. Like that is also seared into my brain.
It is, yeah.
You're like, I know, I think I've gotten my girlfriend with it. I know I've gotten our buddy with it, but I feel like that's one of those things where if you can drop that in from like someone in our age, they'll be like, what is that from? Like that hits like a nerve. Like that is an instant kind of little, they know what it's
Searching
from.
for what that actually is.
Even if they don't know what it is. Like I know what that's from. It's so iconic. So now I think this is the only movie here on the top 10 that I haven't seen. This is The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
I've seen this. Yeah. I remember this was one of those movies that like, I think I watched it with my mom probably, and just she was watching it. But yeah, it's one of those, isn't it kind of like she comes into the house as like a nanny and then she's all psycho and shit?
It seems like even by this poster here, it's like she's breaking up the family. It looks like she's separating the wife and the child from the husband.
Yeah. I remember Rebecca De Mornay was kind of hot. She was definitely I think kind of played these like psycho roles, you know, but she played a pretty good psycho. And yeah, she does all this fucking terrible shit, and I think she tries to kill the wife. And
yeah, it makes it. And then this guy who looks kind of like Eric Bana, but I know that can't be Eric Bana. This is like too early for Eric Bana.
Get some Kenny Loggins shit going on, too.
Right? And then Annabella Sciorra. The only thing I know her from is when her little stint she does on The Sopranos, where she's like she's like she works the Mercedes dealership. Tony hooks up with her.
Crazy.
Oh yeah, Looney Tunes
herself.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. But yeah, Hand That Rocks the Cradle. It also seems like so that's only two below Basic Instinct. So a different type of kind of femme fatale, wacky broad going after a married man. But I can see
ladies.
Yeah, I can see why this kind of makes it into the top 10. And rounding out the top, dude, I'm surprised this is number top 10. Under Siege.
Wow.
The Gall.
I'm amazed it made that much money to be considered a box office success.
Dude, I think this must have, like, for better or for worse, this, well, he was actually, like, he did have, what was it, like, License to Kill,
Hard Target?
No, that's
Van Damme, my bad. Yeah.
But there were a couple before this, but this, I mean, if this is in the top 10 of 92, like, he must have had,
oh man,
we must have been subject to more Steven Seagal films after this because of how much
we totally were.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Die Hard on a boat, you know, but it's Steven Seagal. You get a little Gary Busey. You get a little
Gary Busey.
Look at he's a fucking maniac. And then you get Playboy Centerfold popping out of the cake. That was fun. I remember watching that at some sleepovers and being oh yeah. But Die Hard on a Boat couldn't have said it better. He was like a former like Navy SEAL who now for whatever reason like works as the kitchen, like works in the galley because the chef.
They need an excuse to have him not be like all badass with guns. They need to have him be at like around a microwave and
he can make a mean meal.
You know, he can't make a mean meal for Under Siege. I can't remember what his character's name. Now I got to look this up.
And just when you thought you didn't have enough, we got Under Siege 2.
On
the train. Even like more like nobody asked for this, but boy did we get it.
Yeah, we did not need. I'm trying to remember. I think there's also like Gary Busey, who I think I remember reading something that Gary Busey got hired to be in Under Siege 2, and they were like, he was already in Under Siege 1 and he dies, and so they had to pay him out to not. He didn't work one day. That's probably the easiest money Gary Busey ever made. God. Casey Ryback is his character's name. Casey Ryback. You mean to tell me that's Casey Ryback in there?
God, and then him and like Tommy Lee Jones like dance fight each other at the end. They're all like
at the end,
weird, and then he like
they have little knives. They do little Yeah, it takes but it's over. Yeah, it's over really quickly. They're in the like the comms room or
Yeah,
something, and
yeah.
he's all he's looking like kind of like Mick Jagger. He's like works for the CIA or something, or he's like, I used to be in the CIA. Now I'm gonna take over this boat.
I do feel like, yeah, I feel like it was a pretty phoned in role for Tommy Lee Jones. Probably bought him a house, nice paycheck, but yeah, it was he showed up.
All right, folks. So those were the top 10 top grossing films. But now we're going to
Alright.
do, and there's Gary Busey once again dressed as a
One more
woman in
time.
this.
Take it in.
You gotta get that. But then I think it's often like this is probably in my top 10 movies of all time. If I really like you have to make a list, Last of the Mohicans. Last of the Mohicans.
Hell
So
yeah.
good damn movie. So
Dude,
good.
yeah, it really is a great film. I watched it a couple of years ago just to like for the hell of it. And I think it was because I had listened to a Michael Mann interview,
Okay.
and Michael Mann talked a lot about making this film, and it made me want to watch it again because it was just like, at the time it was one of those films. It's not like a lot of films. They were like, "Yo, we want to be authentic. We want to go out and film on location in the fucking woods." And Daniel Day-Lewis is a fucking G, so he stepped into the role really well, and it moves. It's got some good action. It's got some memorable moments.
It really once they hunt a deer, they go to like the farmhouse. The farmhouse is attacked when they leave it. Then they
Mhm.
the militia. Their militia gets raised up, and then it's to the fort on Lake George. And then it's all once they like are rowing across in the dark while the cannons are going off to Lake George. It is just go go
Nonstop.
go
Yeah.
go 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 go. The music, it's got one of the best soundtracks too. That theme,
Yeah, it's really good. It's super good. It's like, and I feel like a movie that's this good, it would get made today. And maybe, if it didn't have Daniel Day-Lewis in it, it would just kind of be like, you'd shrug it off. But it was very good at the time.
Wes Studi, the Native American actor who plays Mugwa, the bad guy, so fucking badass in that.
Awesome.
When he
Awesome.
takes down the colonel, where he's like, "Gray hair, no! Before you leave this earth, I will wipe your seed from here." It's like, holy shit! And he like cuts out his heart. It's like, God damn, this dude is ruthless.
Ain't fucking
Yeah,
around, dog. Yeah, that's a good
yeah, this-
honorable mention. Is Mohicans.
It is. It's I like whenever it's like I've just like I'm thinking about movies that I really like, just kind of be like, oh, I haven't seen this in a while, whatever. And this always creeps up in a movie that's just one of my favorites, as is this one, Unforgiven, arguably the greatest Western. I know Quentin Tarantino will probably say Good, Bad, and the Ugly, which is also arguably one of the best. But this movie, the anti-Western fucking small ensemble cast, Gene Hackman absolutely kills it. Clint Eastwood double duty, directing and starring.
Dude, it's just you nailed it. I think it's one of those things where like Clint Eastwood had to have done his stint being in westerns and working with Sergio Leone and like being who he was to move to this point. And what a fucking film to make. And it's just like performances. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if it swept the Oscars, but it won a lot of notable things that year, and it deserved it. It was probably the best film made that year.
Yeah, there is also Richard Harris, who just has like a bit part playing English Bob. Just the interaction when he shows up with Little Bill is Gene Hackman's character, and he says one of my favorite lines. Richard Harris says to Little Bill, he says, "Bill, I didn't notice you without your whiskers." And he says, "Yeah, I had to shave them off. I was tasting my soup 2 hours after I ate it." And just the way he delivers, like that interaction, like this haughty-taughty English guy saying, "I didn't recognize you without your whiskers," and his response is, "I had to shave it. I was tasting my soup 2 hours after I ate it." It's so like, it's just the duality in that interaction. Like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Haven't seen it in a long time, but again, it just kind of it sticks up there as one of the greatest westerns probably ever made.
Speaking of underrated comedies, Death Becomes Her with Meryl Streep, Goldie Hawn, and unfortunately the diminished capacity. Well, not at this point in time, but Bruce Willis in the rare like mostly comedic role. There is drama in this, but it's like a dark comedy, but it is still
super
a very
weird and dark and obviously like there's violence in it. There's like kind of gore in it. It's the kind of fantastical storyline. And yeah, really, I mean, Meryl Streep ain't gonna phone it in. She's fantastic. And Goldie Hawn's really funny in it, and Bruce Willis he's kind of the glue. He kind of keeps a lot of the physical comedy down. And
Oh man, there is God. Also, I remember seeing something. This was fucking years ago, but I remember there was a featurette because the gore that happens in this movie relied a lot on one of the first like computer assisted like
oh,
I don't want to say like, well, it is CGI, but for not just being like puppets and animatronics, actually using computers to assist in your special effect. This movie was one of the early adopters, like more so than Jurassic Park, but obviously not on the scale of Jurassic Park. And there is a great scene at the beginning of this movie. I want to say it is Meryl Streep is in her apartment, and she's all fucking like just gross and big, and she sees Goldie Hawn on TV looking all young and ravishing, and they're like the same age. And there's something where she's like, I think she's getting like evicted from her apartment, and they're knocking on the door, and just Meryl Streep just being big and like freaking out watching Goldie Hawn and, like, pulling her out, and she's all like, I remember like in hindsight, it's probably not meant to be funny, but it's very, very funny to see like big fucking Meryl Streep freaking out at pretty Goldie Hawn on the TV screen. So yeah, that's one. If you guys haven't seen it, if you're listening, Death Becomes Her.
I'm seeing too, and I totally forgot it's a Robert Zemeckis movie.
There we go. So quality.
So you're making lots of sense when he always pushes kind of the envelope with the special effects, VFX. Makes sense for him to make something and challenge himself. But yeah, I mean, also Isabella Rossellini is also in it too.
She's wears this. I can't remember if you see Tay-Tay's in there, but she's definitely wearing. I can remember the little like jeweled bikini she wears. Showing,
oh yeah, she's definitely showing her stuff in it and showing that she's still got it for sure.
Quite bits, but yeah, a little hidden gem. If you guys haven't seen Death Becomes Her, very nice little hidden gem. Non-hidden gem, but definitely awesome as hell. My Cousin Vinny. Talk about quotable as fuck.
Amazing.
Tailor made for an actor with Joe Pesci. We're looking up the who the hell directed this? Because I'm trying to think if it was
question.
My Cousin Vinny, directed by Jonathan Lynn. What else have you done, Jonathan Lynn?
Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell, but I mean this did really well for, obviously for Pesci, Marisa Tomei. She's memorable as fuck in it.
Wow, man. This guy, I think he definitely reached his peak with My Cousin Vinny. However, he did direct Clue in '85, which is really good.
That's a good one.
And then there's like some other shit, and then he did Sergeant Bilko with fucking oh god,
all from Grace. Yeah, they were like, all right, man, I don't know.
He did the whole 9 yards, but yeah, I mean, hey, brother, Jonathan Lynn, you put a feather in your cap for the movie that is My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah, I mean, you made a movie that got some Oscar love too. I mean, and it was all, there's just like you said, like it's one of those things where like I can see the trailer for it, I can see the the moments, the setups, and everything. It just landed it really well. It was very fish out of water, and Pesci's just unabashedly Pesci in it. He's perfect.
In the two Utes, I mean, it goes
Gwen and shit too.
It's just a classic comedy. We always talk about the ones that they don't make them like they used to anymore. You'd be hard pressed to find a comedy like this good to make it nowadays.
Absolutely.
Next up, near and dear to my heart as a kid, Mighty Ducks. This is a if you are 9, 8 years old, I don't care if it's in 1992 or now, you could throw on the Mighty Ducks, and this is gonna shut your kids up for a good hour and a half, 2 hours.
Looking Gordon Bombay and shit. There he is. Yeah, it was. I remember seeing this in the movie theater. Another just kind of like wholesome Disney comedy. Disney did a really good job in that time period of always kind of pushing out movies like this. It was really good. It kind of just knew the audience it was catering it to. I'm sure it was great for parents too, because they could go and actually watch a fairly good movie that was funny and whatever, but catered to your kids. And it always did a good job of that in that time period. I don't know if I can say that now. I don't have kids. I'm not taking them to Disney movies, but it seems like something's changed, especially with how easy is it to throw on Disney Plus and just stream some terrible shit that they threw together. But there was actual conceited effort to make these things fairly decent back then.
has an insult I like that I got to bring back. The Mighty Ducks, the kids who aren't as well off as like the other preppy hockey team they have to play. They call those rich kids cake eaters, and I always remember thinking that was a good like slur for the wealthy, was a cake eater. I got to bring that back into my lexicon. Next up, what do we got here? We got 2, 3 more. Sneakers, another little hidden gem. This one is
Sneakers.
Look at this. Robert Redford, Dan Aykroyd, Ben Kingsley, Mary McDonald, River Phoenix, R.I.P., Sidney Poitier, R.I.P., David Strathairn. Sneakers. This is a damn good movie for being
stacked with fucking cast too, man.
Like it's a thriller. It's like a spy thriller, but it's not like taking place like over on foreign soil. It all takes place in the United States. And here are these kind of like disavowed CIA people who all kind of have to come together to do a job. Not often like I would say like brought up in terms of like 90s movies. You know,
I don't think so. I think it actually falls, it kind of falls to the wayside. I don't hear a lot of people mention this. I think too, like it did a really good job of like it's a kind of a well thought out caper. And I think I think after this really like the Ocean's 11 kind of franchise really got people back into that whole like big group of people pulling off this high profile crime. But yeah, this was fun. Robert Redford was like the good leader in it. I love David Strathairn as the guy. Amazing. Like so he's good. Probably the best part of it.
Yeah, he's so good.
So dope. Yeah. And again, just like great little performances, and it was fun. And God, I haven't seen this in forever, dude. I don't even remember most of it.
Dude, yeah, this was one where I can't remember how the hell I came across it. Like, fuck it, dude. I'm talking like maybe 5-6 years ago, but it was one of those things where I was like watching it, and then I was like transported back into like the living room when I was a kid for like remembering watching it as a kid, probably shortly after it came out. Because I definitely didn't see this in the theater. This was like a movie store rental one. Same. But I can remember even being that young, being like, this is a really good movie. Like this is like how come I'm liking this movie so much being the age I am? Like this is definitely a banger of a flick, and it's got like all this quality actors in it. It's kind of hard to not be like, this is good, because everyone in it is really, really good.
Yeah. They're all bringing their A game.
And we got another Robin Williams movie. So, dude,
this one was a little strange.
Dude, this is one where I haven't seen in a long, long time. But I remember when I watched it as a kid, really liking it because it was so freaking weird. With Joan Cusack as his sister is fucking Looney Toony. She's funnier than him. I can remember they're like sitting around having dinner, and they're like, "Oh, what are you eating?" And she's just like vitamins on toast or like bread. That's the only thing she has is like it's so fucking bizarre. LL Cool J, I believe, is in this movie. I'm trying to remember who plays the bad guy. Son of a bitch, I can't remember who plays the bad guy in this. But this is a completely
and Barry Levinson too. Barry Levinson.
Okay, so there we go.
So obviously, he's a pretty storied director. But it just took a lot of strange liberties, created a weird world, and it was just you just kind of went for it. It was out there.
Yeah, and this falls like we should maybe do like some sort of what do I call it? Like a retrospective on how every movie that Robin Williams is in doesn't have a happy ending. Because this one, it's like if it's not if it's not like outright unhappy, it's like bittersweet. And this one, for being called Toys, this is definitely a movie, and they live in a big fucking toy factory, and it's all super. And he's obviously like the Willy Wonka of the toy factory, but yeah, a little bittersweet ending. No spoilers, but yeah, this is one I might have to revisit.
Wow, that's an old school. That's
go to the dispensary, get a little, get an edible, watch Toys, and then this one definitely has no reason for being on this kind of like near and dear, but we just have to talk about it because it exists. Fucking Sylvester Stallone.
Look at the poster. Estelle Getty is stacked with a fucking massive machine gun.
Oh my God! The story goes that because Stallone and Schwarzenegger were always vying to who could have the next biggest blockbuster, the biggest movie. The Hollywood rumor, or straight from the horse's mouth, Arnold Schwarzenegger said, I came across this god awful script, and I told my agent to tell Stallone's agent that I am gonna do this movie, because I got worried because I have this other one on hold, but I like this script so much that I'm thinking about putting this one on hiatus to go do this movie. And Stallone, I guess, made it like, no, we're doing this movie without even reading the script. And Schwarzenegger's like, and that movie was stopped, or my mom will shoot.
Talk about like crafty subterfuge, you know, just the bait and switch that perfectly pulled off by Schwarzenegger. But yeah, I mean, just an absolute. I don't think I ever have seen it. I've just seen all the like the cherry picked terrible moments that you can watch at any time. Feel free to go just type it into YouTube, and a whole world bestows you of terrible moments with Stallone and Estelle Getty.
Yeah, I am. I also have not seen this movie, but holy hell, goddamn you, 1992, for making this movie a reality, because there's no way in hell it should have ever been made. So that wraps up our nice little segment here on the moves, which means we are moving to our last segment.
All right.
With the theme or on the heels of movies, we're playing a little seggy here that is near and dear to the show's hearts. It is a fan favorite. It is Dream Roster. If you're new to the show, what we do is we take some characters from movies that were from the year that the show takes place in. In this case, it'll be 1992. It is up to Tom and I to draft 3 individual team members from this selection of 10, and we have to come up with a team that we would assemble if we need to do something, whether it is a la a sneakers caper, maybe it is to go, hold down and fight some bad guys. You don't know what's going to happen your way, but you're going to have these 3 people on your back. And so these are always good. So the first one, Ash from Army of Darkness. I mean,
my boy.
He's might be a man out of time. He might be missing one hand, but he does have the knowledge of the future, and he has his boomstick. Shop right, shop smart, shop S-smart.
And delivering some of the smoothest fucking lines that you would ever need a team member to be.
Come get some, baby.
Oh yeah, the best.
So good. Yeah, his man for a dude who was only kind of relegated to being the star of Sam Raimi movies. You never really got your due, Bruce Campbell, because my God, you were a badass action hero for the movies that you were one in.
It is, dude. Yeah.
Beethoven from Dog Saint Bernard from the movie Beethoven.
Oh man,
it's the love
I mean, if you're a dog that can systematically break down Charles Grodin, you're on my team, bro.
Yeah, right. I mean, a big fluffy doggy. You can, you're great with children. You're obviously an intimidation factor, and surprisingly
looking motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm trying to I definitely haven't seen Beethoven in a long time, but I remember him not being like dumb. You know what I mean? Like smart. Like obviously through the movie magic, what they show the dog do, but not a complete moron, but not just
havoc on this guy's life. Yeah.
Captain Ron as Captain Ron,
or I like to call him Vacation Snake Plissken.
Oh man, he's seaworthy. He is definitely a Lothario. He can fight. He knows his way around the island chains. I mean, he's a natural born leader. He is Vacation Snake Plissken. I would be remiss, seeing as how I left the movie Ladybugs off honorable mentions in movies. I would be remiss if I left off Chester Lee from Ladybugs movie. He is he's a leader of young women. He is funny. He is charismatic. He's able to get the job done. He might not be the leader that you want, but at this point in time, he might be the leader.
He can dress Jonathan Brandis up as a woman, and get her to play soccer. This guy is crafty as fuck. Look at his face.
Jonathan, don't tell your mother. Or anyone at school. Let's see here. Next up. Oh, yes, we have the character of Dill from The Crying Game. So this is a
spoiler alert.
I don't want to give away the end of this Crying Game, but let's say this is a type of a femme fatale, maybe a master of disguise. Also melts the heart of a hardened IRA criminal, so able to make a man who made bombs that destroy children rethink his whole identity. So
and shower cry as well.
And shower cry. If you want to be surprised, watch The Crying Game from 1992. Oh yes, we have Luc Devereaux. This is Jean-Claude Van Damme's character from Universal Soldier. So obviously he's a super soldier. That's an upside downside. You got to put him in a refrigerator every time he's out of the fucking sun for an hour. Otherwise he'll overheat because, spoiler, he is a reanimated dead body. So you kind of got to give and take. Ultimate killing machine. You can't have him out unless he's got some SPF 9000.
I haven't seen that movie in forever. Isn't it?
Dolph Lundgren?
Yeah, I was gonna say Dolph Lundgren's like his nemesis or whatever. They fight each other, but Yeah, he'd be a good get. I mean, he's half man, half human. It's pretty
the
dope.
best part is when they start losing their minds because they're out of the deep freeze for a long time, and so they're all like, stoic and mute. But then when they start becoming more human, Dolph Lundgren does a really good job of being out of his tits in that movie. He's got some good kind of one-liners.
Oh yeah.
Poison Ivy from Poison Ivy. Hey, she'll be on your team, so you don't got to worry about her kind of turning your back on you. But I mean, hey, you really can't trust her. But she's a wild card. I think this is kind of like an ultimate wild card here. Femme fatale,
young Drew Barrymore as well.
Young Drew B's, definitely probably hitting the bottle a little bit. She may have some demons, but what
stick, girl.
Better little kind of little bloodstained stick there, but a nice little femme fatale hellion that's you can maybe put her in some behind enemy lines, little subterfuge, and I don't think she has any problem getting her hands dirty, even with her beautiful face. Don't let that fool you. She's a killer. Then I've never seen this movie before. Apparently, this is Mikey, Mikey, from the movie Mikey, and
I may have missed Mikey.
So I guess what this is, Mikey was a adopted boy who turns out to be a psychopath. So that's what it gave me.
Look at him here with the bat. He looks crazy.
So I feel like this is definitely talking about a wild card. I think this is kind of this is like your dog on a leash that you can probably
killer kids. That's a crazy weapon.
I don't think he's completely unhinged. He shouldn't be this devious, this young. But again, this is someone you'd probably want on your side if you needed to have this.
Mikey likes it.
Yeah, yeah, right. Talk about the life cereal, more like death cereal, beating you to death. Cereal. Then we have the Invisible Man, Nick Calloway. This was Chevy Chase from Memoirs of an Invisible Man, the John Carpenter's film. As you can be ultimate heist guy, he doesn't have to wear anything because he's going to be completely invisible. I think there's a lot of benefits having an invisible man would bring to you.
Roll pretty deep. Yeah, I like it.
And then we have Peter and David Jade from the movie Double Trouble. I've never seen Double Trouble.
Man, I've seen it a long time ago.
But when I was trying to put together this dream roster selection, I figure these two dummies are so fucking stupid. Getting both of them is just like getting one dummy.
One brain cell. Between the two of them. Yeah, so you get the 2-for-1er.
Yeah, they're very strong. They fire a bunch of guns. They I'm sure, without seeing this movie, I guarantee you that they bang some ladies. So they
can wear a variety of different hats, literally, as they're doing it.
I'm sure they probably ride motorcycles. I'd imagine it's the 90s. I'm sure there's probably a scene with them riding a motorcycle or having like a nice convertible. So yeah, you got some just some dumb muscle, and that is your date here for
man.
You got Ash, Beethoven, Captain Ron, Chester, Dill. You got Luke Devereaux, Poison Ivy, Mikey, both with bats and sticks, the Invisible Man, and the dumbass fucking Jade twins.
Yeah. There's a real swath of variety here.
I feel like there is 3 easy first round. I feel like there's 3 like first picks that I think are pretty, and then it gets a little muddy. I think it gets a little muddy after that. But I defer first pick to you, sir, and then we'll do a little snake draft.
All right, yeah. My first pick on my team, I'm probably gonna go for. I'm gonna bring on Beethoven, bring on the dog. I feel like just having a beast is quite a good thing to my advantage, in the animal family. He's a big dog. I'm sure he's protective. We can use him for all of his dog abilities. He can smell out things. He can dig under things. Feel like that goes fairly deep. And he's just a chill ass dog. So he could be, our best friend, chilling, hanging out, man's best friend kind of thing.
I'm a little jealous. I wanted Beethoven. I thought Beethoven would have slid to round 2, but man, I did not put Beethoven. I'm sorry. You're a good boy. I should have figured you had round 1 potential. All right. So I am, I feel like I'm thinking with my heart and my brain. So I think I'm going to go with my brain. In my brain, I'm taking Captain Ron. Okay. I feel like Captain Ron brings a lot to the table. He's probably the sanest person on this whole board.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
So I feel like if I have someone who actually has their wits about them that I can rely on, that also probably has a badass charter boat that we can always, just as long as we're somewhere near water, I could always have an escape
incredible,
route.
like top shelf rum on that boat as well.
Yes. So I feel like just having probably the sanest person with actually some ability to do some critical thinking and look badass in white guy dreads and a Rastafarian hat. I think I'm taking Captain Ron with my 1-1 pick.
Okay, nice pick. Okay, for my second pick, I'm gonna go with Nick Holloway. I'm gonna go with the Invisible Man. I like the whole I just love that. I think it's cool. He can slip in and out of scenarios, stay hidden really well. Probably a master of whatever disguise he needs to actually look human when he's not just the Invisible Man walking around. And he's Chevy Chase, so maybe he's funny, maybe he's a dick. We'll find out.
It's a good pick. That's a good pull. Now I feel like I know where I need to go, but it's down to one or the other. Because they would clash, I'm not going to go. I think their personalities would clash too much. So I think I am going to go. I'm going to Captain Ron will figure out something to keep this motherfucker cool. I'm going to take Luke Devereaux from Universal Soldier. I need some just badass guy who's going to do like what the mission requires. He is a universal soldier. If me and Ron don't want to get our hands dirty or just can't get our hands dirty, we can just send in this like undead killing machine to mop up whatever problem needs to get
done. Put him back in the freezer on the ship when you're all done with him.
Just put him in the whole. Probably can just throw him like under the keel. Like ocean water's kind of cold every often.
Keep him chilled.
Yeah,
keep your universal soldier at the right temperature. That's a good pick. I mean, he's a badass killing machine. Yeah. He's like a heightened fucking combat performance. He's fucking ideal.
Third and final pick. It gets a little slim, buddy. But there's a couple, at least two left on the board. They're okay, I'd say.
Okay, my third and final. I'm gonna do Ash Williams from fucking obviously all the Evil Deads. Chainsaw hand check. He's great with a shotgun. He takes a hit, he gets back up. He's a fucking badass. He's a time traveler like ourselves. Yeah, I'd say. And besides that, he's good company. He's a funny dude. He's gonna make me laugh with some of his quips and one-liners.
Yeah, I figured having Ron, I think his personality would.
They would have
butt heads too much. So yeah, I had to go with the other guy with the gun. I had to go with Luke Devereaux. So now I think it's a no-brainer. Oh man. I'm going to switch this up. I'm actually going to do something that probably is going to be the least useful for the team. I'm going to take Mikey, and here's why I'm going to take Mikey. I feel like with him being the wild card and his wantingness to like get his hands dirty and not give a shit like what needs to be done, like he's going to do it. Here's I think the one added bonus. If he gave me any sort of shit, I could fucking haul off and belt this guy. I'm on team, but he's also only like 70, 60 pounds. So there's really nothing that he's going to do to me that I got to worry about. Even if he hits me with that bat, I mean, he's got like little weak wrists. He's ain't going to like have enough torque to hurt me.
Kid.
So I feel like I've got this kind of like you got Beethoven, I got Mikey, and there's no way in hell I would lay a hand on Beethoven. But Mikey, I'll just give him the fucking chop and just recruit somebody else. So I'm taking Mikey with my third pick only because I know I can keep that dog, keep that from biting the hand that feeds.
I mean, a solid, smart, thought out selection there. So yeah, I think that rounds it off pretty nicely.
We gotta love doing a little episode or another little seggy of Dream Roster. It's a favorite of the show.
That was fun.
And speaking of favorite of the show, this has been another favorite episode. Each and every one. I feel like we get better and better with having the fun, learning something. Hopefully you guys enjoy it too. Tom, 1992 in the books, and that's not to say, folks, that when Epoch Traverser kind of like brings us back around, it's very possible that we are going to revisit these years and maybe these categories just in a different way. But we're jumping around to wherever it takes us. But this was 1992.
Yeah, great work. Awesome episode back in the 90s. It's always fun. It's the randomization that we always thrive for here on Anachronology. Again, love to all the fans, everybody watching. I hope you're having as much fun as we are. And yeah, I mean, tune in next episode. Another year, another place, another time.
We'll see you on the next one. Later.
See ya.